communicative approach has been widely implemented, so there are many variants. However, there are core assumptions such as that the interaction and meaningful communication facilitate learning, and students negotiate meaning and expand their language resources, so they process content that is relevant and interesting. The communication is a holistic process, and it involves inductive learning of rules of language and language analysis. And language learning is gradual and involves creative use of language. The learners develop their roots to language learning, and the use of effective learning and communication strategies is really important. The role of the teacher is that of a facilitator, and finally, this learning is done through collaboration and sharing. In the following slide, we want to show you that earlier traditions in communicative learning teaching are still present in the current approaches to methodologies. In this way, classroom activities usually have some of the following characteristics. In the first place, they aim at the learning of the communicative competence through linking grammatical development to the ability to communicate. Consequently, grammar emerges from a communicative task rather than in isolation. Also, through the use of activities such as problem solving, information sharing, or role play, they create the need for communication, interaction, and negotiating of meaning. In addition, they provide opportunities for both inductive and deductive learning of grammar, and they use content that connects to students' lives and interests. Moreover, they enable students' personalization of learning by applying what they have learned to their own lives. And finally, they make use of authentic texts in classroom so as to create interest and provide real models of language.
Jacobs and Farrell describe a change of paradigm based on some key components. In here, you have some words, for example, whole to part orientation, learning process, social nature, individual differences, purpose, inside views, holistic learning, and learner-centered, that describe each of these components. Would you be able to guess them only with this information?
The communicative language teaching has suffered some changes according to Jacobs and Farrell. Those changes are the following ones: learner autonomy, social nature of learning, curricular integration, focus on the meaning, diversity, thinking skills, alternative assessment, and finally, teachers as co-learners.
In here, you have some statements and doubts that we have thought. We would like you to reflect and debate about them with your group. The first one is that we think that as the approach is so wide and has no fixed characteristics, there could be difficulties in order to implement it, as there are no strict guidelines but rather principles. Secondly, we consider that the approach should be taught in earlier teacher training, as many times teachers do not fully understand what the communicative competence really is. Thirdly, related to this, as many teachers have no formation in this specific approach, it is not widely implemented in schools. Fourthly, the communicative competence includes a lot of elements such as grammar, language skills, vocabulary, functions. Thus, when implementing this approach, it is important to take into account that all of them should be developed. Lastly, due to the fact that in our chapter there are no examples of activities, we would like you to think about an activity that exemplifies all these principles.